You are listening to the SEBA Lunchbox podcast. Hello and welcome to the SEBA Lunchbox podcast. My name is Charlie Outhwaite and I'm a postdoc at the Centre for Biodiversity and Environment Research here at UCL. And we've got a brilliant treat for you today because we had another Charlie in, so two Charlies. Brilliant. Today I have Charlie Russell with me, and Charlie is currently an advisor working for Natural England and recently completed his Masters in Applied Ecology and Conservation at the University of East Anglia. Welcome, Charlie.
Hi, it's good to meet you and to be here.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for coming in. So would you mind just starting off, I guess, with a little bit of an introduction to yourself and your current role? What are you up to at the moment?
So at the moment, I'm kind of working as an advisor for Natural England. I recently finished my master's where I did my dissertation focusing on greater spotted eagles. And that's kind of where my research interests lie. I'm a really big fan of kind of migratory birds, particularly things like raptors. And so at the moment, I'm kind of looking at potentially the next sort of steps, applying for PhDs and kind of working along whilst I try and get myself kind of back into research and academia.
Okay, brilliant. So we always like to ask these kind of questions. So do you have a favourite species? Is the greater spotted eagle a favourite?
Well, I'd have to actually say bearded vultures are my favourite species.
Okay.
I think they're so cool and they look so funky with their kind of like their really red chest and the little tufty beard. So, and the fact that they choose to eat bones, which is cool and quirky and odd. So if I ever had the chance to kind of work with them, yeah, I'd kind of drop everything in a heartbeat for a bearded vulture.
I love that. Brilliant. They do sound very quirky and fun. Good answer. So you're working for Natural England currently as an advisor. What does that entail? What are you advising?
So Natural England is kind of the statutory body in the UK, and they have really kind of broad range of work in kind of helping us deliver on kind of nature recovery in England. And so I've been there for about 4 months now, and I still don't know everything that they do. But what I'm particularly involved in is kind of casework and coordination for the Yorkshire and Northern Lincolnshire area. And so this is mostly looking at advising landowners on kind of the management of SSSIs, giving them kind of consent to undertake certain activities and kind of making sure that everything is beneficial for the designated features of these sites.
Interesting. Okay, so very different to kind of academic research and the things you've been working on in your masters. How have you found that kind of transition and moving away from academia into this different sector?
I think it's been really crazy. Like I have 2 degrees in conservation related subjects, and yet it's such a steep learning curve getting kind of like thrown into this and going through all of the training. And particularly, I think, learning about the domestic systems that we have for protecting wildlife here. Like I think a lot of my studies have been focused on exotic systems far away and really cool study species and what you should do to kind of conserve them. But I think that was kind of a big kind of knowledge gap for me in terms of what we actually do in this country and the more complex things about management. So it's been a really kind of steep learning curve. But it's actually really interesting to look at the different legal systems we have in place for protecting areas in this country and how we go about working, particularly with the fact that a lot of the important areas for biodiversity in England are actually on private land, and working with landowners to help them manage their land in their best interest, but also for kind of for biodiversity's benefit as well.
Yeah, I think it does sound challenging. I mean, you say, 2 degrees in conservation, but there's always more that we need to learn. And there's a lot of very location specific kind of information that, you have to try and pick up somehow. And it can be challenging, but that sounds like a really interesting role. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey into science so far? How have you wound your way into your current role?
Well, When I was younger, I always kind of loved birds, and there was particularly an area near me where you could go out bird watching. And I used to go out and see kestrels and barn owls, particularly, and that kind of made me fall in love with birds of prey in particular. And kind of from then on, I kind of looked at things like I was particularly interested in falconry, and I spent a lot of time kind of like volunteering at bird of prey centres. And this was a long time ago now, but this was around the time of the Southeast Asian vulture crisis.
Okay.
And bird of prey centres were doing huge amounts of work with kind of funding, conservation action, providing kind of assistance to capture breeding projects that were in situ, and raising a lot of awareness about the decline of vultures. Like we lost like around 99% of vultures in some areas due to kind of widespread use of the veterinary drug diclofenac. And that kind of opened my eyes to the fact that people are having a huge impact on the natural world, and birds are struggling, and that there was actually like a place where you could get involved and help to protect them and stop that. And so that kind of pushed me on the journey of, okay, I want to go into wildlife conservation. And so I kind of went back home and started kind of looking at what I could do, and went to university to study wildlife conservation, and fell in love with doing research and thinking about how we can use like ecological methods and stats to answer real world questions and create solutions for a lot of the problems in the world. And so that kind of pushed me along to kind of pursue a career in research. And then I kind of went through to do my master's. And initially it kind of started as almost a stopgap between looking for further study when I joined Natural England. But kind of since then, it's become a lot more than that. It's been a huge learning opportunity, and it's opened my eyes as to kind of like the role of statutory bodies in conservation. So it's been a really kind of enlightening experience. And I think it's definitely something that I will kind of, when I go back into research, I'll take a lot of those kind of lessons with me and try and work more to do research that has an actionable benefit in the world.
Great, thank you. Yeah, that's really interesting to hear. I think when we work in conservation, it can be a very challenging career. And I think you've really got to have a passion for something that you are working on, because it's often a lot of bad news that we get. And so it's really good to hear that you kind of started off volunteering in this kind of birds of prey centres, and then learnt more about the threats towards these things, and been trying to work towards preventing those things and finding solutions. That's really cool. Do you have any funny stories of working at a bird of prey centre? There must be something. Did anything ever escape?
No, I don't have any kind of any stories personally. It was always just a real privilege to kind of be up so close and personal with these birds that are still essentially wild in captivity. So kind of just being around them, and like you go in and be kind of like cleaning around, like, and there's just a golden eagle like right there, and it's one of the coolest things I think ever. Like you just hear a thud, and it's like, oh, yep, that's a massive golden eagle right next to my head. It's like so cool.
Yeah, and dealing with things with such giant wingspans must be.
I would go back and do it all again.
So, do you come from a particularly sciencey family or academic family? Was it always kind of a plan to go to university and study something? What's your background like?
So most of my kind of immediate family work in the service industry. And so when I was kind of younger, I was kind of like helping out, working in pubs, doing bar work and kind of restaurant work. And so when I found out that there was a career available in conservation, that was completely new to me. I had no idea that kind of world existed. And so I found that really exciting to think about, but also quite a daunting prospect to try and move into a completely different field, something that sometimes feels a little bit closed off as well.
Do you think kind of coming from a different background has affected your experience in science so far? Have you come across any challenges or, I don't know, things that, you may have experienced differently?
I think so. And I think it also comes down to like a cumulative effect of lots of little things. Like even stuff like going to university and feeling like you fit in or belong, it can be quite difficult to, like, even things like just, making friends or understanding what your next steps could be, especially when you don't have anyone that you can kind of talk to about that. It all feels like quite a big challenge, I think. And there are bits or times in my undergraduate degree where, for example, there was a tropical ecology module where everyone got to go out to, I think it was to Borneo, and do really cool field work in a great place and learn lots of new skills and stuff. And it was already heavily subsidized by the university, but it wasn't something that I was able to do for financial reasons. So it always kind of feels like there's extra opportunities that sometimes you end up missing out on. Like later on down the line, looking at kind of applying for PhDs, it's then kind of feeling like you've got to compete with other people that have got a lot more experience or have had access to a lot more opportunities. So I think it's definitely, it impacts what you can do. But in some ways that can kind of turn into an opportunity with the other things that you can do to make yourself competitive and stand out. So I think there are also good ways around that. So it's not all negative, but it's definitely quite a daunting challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think conservation especially, there seems to be so much emphasis on having experience, and a lot of the experience that people are able to get is usually through volunteering, working for free internships, giving up their time. And if you can't afford to do that's really limiting what you're able to kind of take part in. And like you say, getting experience. And I think, universities, I think, are becoming a bit better aware of these things and offering opportunities and having funds available if they can. But it can be difficult. And I think there's definitely a lot of assumptions made on people joining courses and what's expected. But so you said you found some other ways to make yourself more competitive through different kind of routes. Could you give us some examples, or do you have any kind of advice, I guess, to others who might be going through a similar situation and be like, I can't work for free, what can I do?
So I think the best thing that I've done that's kind of made me, or that I think makes me stand out a little bit since finishing my master's, is I've presented at a couple of conferences, which is really great fun to go and do. It's really good practice for science communication. It's a really important skill to develop, but you also meet a lot of new people, people that maybe have have a similar situation to you or can give you advice. There's, I went to and presented at one conference, and off the back of that, I had a couple of interviews for different PhD positions just from being able to present the work that you did during your degree, and isn't kind of anything extra, but just being able to present that to an audience, it can make people aware of what you can do. And I think that's something that can definitely start a lot of conversations. So I'd recommend, where you can, maybe think about presenting your master's research or something at a conference. And a lot of organizations running conferences have attendance grant schemes that you can look into. So I presented at the Association for the Study of Animal Behaviors winter meeting in 2022. And they offer a really great range of grants that enabled me to go there and do that. So it's always worth looking into these things. There's definitely a lot more out there to help people. It's just sometimes quite difficult to find. So I think attending conferences and looking at what kind of grants and funding there is available are definitely two things that are worth spending some time on.
Yeah, very good advice. And I couldn't agree more. Conferences are brilliant ways to network and meet people. And that's something that I think a lot of people struggled with over the kind of COVID period, was trying to do online conferences, and it just wasn't quite the same as going along and getting these kind of face-to-face conversations. And you find yourself just talking to random people in the lunch queue and find out you have similar interests, and who knows where those opportunities can lead. So yeah, although being brave enough to talk to scary looking professors or something like that is another issue.
It's definitely daunting, but I think if you're presenting and you've given a talk, that's always a nice opener and an icebreaker to go and speak to people about. Before I attended each of the conferences, I had a look through the schedule, and I made a list of all the really cool people that were giving talks that I wanted to go up to and talk to. And I was like, okay, right, I've got to talk to at least 2 people today off of my list. And just being able to go up and say, I really enjoyed your talk, and then if they've seen your talk as well, then I think it makes it a lot easier to start those scary conversations.
Definitely. Yeah, it's always nice when someone comes up to you as well and goes, oh, I saw your talk, really liked figure X. Yeah, it definitely helps get the conversation going. Or if you do anything like me, just start talking about the sandwiches. This is my backup option. Great lunch today. You can't go wrong with food talk. Yeah, that is great advice, because it is hard to build up a CV in any rate, because we all have so many things going on. You're trying to finish your research, or you're trying to work in a job. But getting all these little extra things on your CV is definitely a good way to, bump up your spot on the pile if you're looking into applications and things like that.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps with things like PhD applications to demonstrate that, you could be working on a couple of papers or trying to finish off your dissertation for publication, and it can it's very easy to say that, and nobody really knows how much you've contributed to that or what stage it is. But I think being able to say that you presented it at a conference provides kind of a little bit more evidence to say, okay, this is a really good standard for science. So it definitely helps with that as well.
Definitely. They're serious, we'll let them in. For sure. So yeah, working in science, we've heard from lots of different people on these podcasts, and we hear that everyone's kind of day-to-day is very different, and there's so much variety out there. Could you tell us a little bit about what your kind of day-to-day would involve, I guess, in your role at Natural England, and then maybe after that we'll talk about your research and what that kind of involves. So I guess, thinking about your advisor role at the moment, what does this involve on a day-to-day level?
So kind of the typical kind of process is like people that own land in SSSIs and want to do things with that land. For the management will reach out to Natural England, and they'll kind of ask for consent to do this. And so what we normally then do is run through exactly what operations they're planning to do, and kind of create an assessment as to whether that's likely to damage the features of the SSSI or be beneficial to that. So we work through these kind of cases individually each day and try and figure out how we can promote better management or encourage positive impacts before we kind of either allow the work to go ahead, or we can give advice on how to do things or encourage them to add in some mitigation work. So typically that's kind of what we work on a day-to-day basis. And what I do is typically working with some of the really simple casework at the moment, because I've not been there for very long. But you get a little bit of a window into some of the more complex casework, and it spans from things like head starting of curlews, relocating species, wildlife licensing, and some really complex work that's being kind of undertaken, countryside stewardships, all those kind of different things. So we're typically working on the easier cases personally, but there's a whole range of things that I'm kind of learning about as we go, and I get to kind of see a little bit of how we make those decisions in conservation in the UK. So it's really interesting.
So the people that I guess are interested in the management or coming forward with what they're doing, are they generally interested in conservation of the site, or is it that they're coming in wanting to develop stuff and then you're saying, no, wait, hold on?
So I'd say it's quite varied. I think there's lots of landowners out there who are really kind of nature positive, and they're looking at things like countryside stewardship schemes and how best they can manage their land, and they really want to kind of improve these things. And then sometimes it's things like essential work that needs to be undertaken. And then sometimes it can be a little bit more complex as to whether it's not something that we would allow to go ahead or that we'd refuse consent for.
Great. It's like, yeah, we're so unaware of all the things that end up going on often in our own countries, our own back gardens. It's really interesting to hear another route of what kind of conservation stuff can take you into. So how does your day-to-day at the moment as your advisor role compare to the difference? Like, what's the difference, I guess, compared to doing your research for your master's compared to the kind of day-to-day activities that you might be doing?
Well, during my master's, I went a little bit crazy. So my master's dissertation, we worked on 3 separate papers. So I feel like I did a little bit too much. In hindsight, I'd go back and I'd do a bit less. But it's really quite different. I do feel kind of like every day that I'm not within a kind of a research environment, it gets like a little bit further away. Just things like being able to read papers regularly, like that kind of thing, staying up to date with the literature, that's kind of a normal part of day-to-day life, kind of in a research institute or kind of whilst you're doing a master's. I think that's kind of something that it's really different that I found, and I do miss that part of things. But I'd say it's a really nice working environment at Natural England, and they're really flexible and supportive as well. So I still get to do a lot of training, attend a lot of webinars, and kind of learn from loads of different people in the team. So it doesn't feel too different really from when I was kind of on my master's, like the amount of knowledge that you're kind of consuming. I think it's a lot less different than people think it is, working in practice compared to research.
That's really interesting to hear. I think, we can often be in academia looking for opportunities and we don't know what's out there and whether they're very different or very similar. So interesting to hear that. That's great. But I totally agree. Keeping up with the literature is very hard. My to read list is huge. And the number of papers I actually get to read is very small. But that is the challenge. And you said you've been working on 3 different papers from your master's research.
I'm still working on my my undergraduate dissertation as well. That's been about 2 years now, trying to push that to publication. So I know I keep feeling bad about these things, but everyone says it's kind of a normal process, and that's okay, and that's something that it takes a while to get used to. So I try to every evening set aside 1 or 2 hours to go through and maybe read a single paper, or do one piece of analysis, or try and figure out one problem that I've kind of encountered, so that I can keep making progress on those papers. The key word there is try, because it's quite difficult after a full day's work to sit back down at the desk and go, all right, time to deal with R. And it's like, great, this is not how you want to spend your evening. So it can be difficult to keep up with it sometimes.
You don't want to be trying to translate R errors, coding errors last thing on a Friday or something like that. So how have you found the kind of publication process as you kind of been just kind of introduced to it? Well, thrown in the deep end with so many papers by the sounds of it. But what do you think of trying to publish research and that process?
I'd say initially it feels very daunting. There's kind of all these sorts of different questions and things that you're not really told during taught degree programs, like especially how peer review works. Different papers have different kind of data sharing policies. What the submission portal looks like. They scare me on different things. I don't want to click the wrong buttons. Funding, if there's kind of, will the university pay for things like open access, or if there's additional charges and stuff like that. So it's one of them things where there's so many questions and figuring it out. But there's a lot of guidance, I think, out there. Most journals have a good amount of kind of like author guidelines, and I found a few blog posts, people kind of writing out, how to submit your first paper, and you kind of look at it and you go, okay, everything's normal. I've not done anything wrong. Like, this is okay. And because it feels like everything's kind of new, and you're kind of scared to get things wrong, I think. But I think it's normally quite a slow process, and especially working with lots of co-authors, trying to get everyone to agree on things as well. It's very new. So it can be quite daunting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's crazy that we don't go through these processes more in undergraduate and master's degrees and have sessions on what really happens, because you kind of just get to a point and maybe your supervisor will go, yeah, I think you're ready to submit this. And you're like, finally, it's done. And then you realize, no, that's not the end. This is only the beginning. You've got to navigate, some weird website with all the different boxes that are very annoying to fill in, and all of that stuff that you mentioned. I can definitely relate to that. So how have you found, have you got papers with lots of different co-authors on? You mentioned kind of trying to navigate that process.
So my undergraduate dissertation, there I think it's 35 different people involved. And so that ranges from, it's kind of pulling together a lot of citizen science migration count data. And so this ranges from people that are kind of more birders, and then some more kind of like hardcore researchers. So kind of, communicating with everyone and trying to make sure everyone's happy. It's quite daunting. But yeah, and then my master's research, there's a lot less co-authors, but occasionally, you might disagree about certain parts of analysis or different conclusions in the paper. And that's something that gave me a lot of anxiety at first, but it's kind of, everyone says, oh, no, this is normal. And it feels quite strange when especially more senior people are kind of like disagreeing with what you said. And I feel like it's kind of like a block you've got to get over, in terms of like, no, this isn't anything wrong. This is a normal part of the discussion, and it's good and healthy to have these kind of conversations. So yeah, working with lots of co-authors can be challenging, but it's also, I think, really rewarding. Like, people have so many different perspectives and they bring so much, and the level of kind of critical thinking, it's really useful, I think, when going through the process. I feel like some of the papers have already gone through peer review. At least it feels like that, kind of sharing it with everyone and getting people's thoughts. So it's definitely a positive thing to work with lots of people, but it can be a struggle at times.
No, absolutely. I think, it can be very scary when you first open that Word document after getting comments back from people, and you're just a little bit scared to look and see all the crossings out and all the comments. But you have to remember, like you said, it is rewarding. People have different perspectives, and they're going to improve the paper in the end. And there's always going to be some disagreements, but nothing's ever particularly wrong. It's always just different ways of looking at things. So some really good reassurance there for anyone going through this process for the first time.
I'd also recommend using things like Google Documents. Google Docs, it's great for what, although I get into this really unhealthy habit of, like, I get the notification that someone's leaving a comment, and then I kind of I sit there in the document and I watch them and I go, what are you reading? What are you saying about this? And it's not good. I waste several hours just kind of watching people comment on things.
Just going back in, looking over their shoulder. That's good. Yeah, some great advice though. Yeah, Google Docs is good. It's, yeah, or trying to at least make sure everyone comments on one draft rather than lots of different Word documents or something like that.
Yeah.
It's trying to manage input of these things. It feels like, insignificant stuff compared to research questions, but it can make your life a lot easier later on down the line. I guess what do you think are the main challenges that you've come across, either in your kind of conservation work or in academia? I guess what are the kind of pros and cons you think of the two that you might share people with people and encourage them to think about if they're thinking about going one way or another?
Well, I think kind of like overarching across both sectors is the fact that I think conservation is more about people than it is about species or ecosystems. And it can be quite easy to become fixated on like a study organism or kind of like what we should be doing. But I think ultimately it boils down to working with people in different situations. And to kind of, we all come in, to conservation. We're here for a reason, and we kind of have an intrinsic value. We value nature and biodiversity in our systems really highly. But other people kind of have different perspectives and different values, and it's a lot about communicating and working with people. I think that's something that is really kind of heavily involved in conservation practice that I kind of didn't think about to start with, but it's always kind of with people. And I think academia is a bit more disconnected from that. So I think there's lots of really great research being done, but we could all kind of benefit from focusing a bit more on the social side. I'm saying this like I enjoy the social bits of research. I don't like it, but I know that we kind of need to do it a little bit more. But I'd rather just work for my birds and just have like no people there. But I think trying to bridge that gap is important.
Yeah, unfortunately, people are everywhere, so we've got to account for that in the systems.
Yeah, whether it's kind of people as kind of a threat or as an opportunity for the solution, which I think is a much better way to think about things. Working with people as the solution rather than treating people that live in a certain area or have different values as a problem. I think we need to think about it more as opportunities, which is very difficult to do. I don't really know how to do it, but I think that's kind of a big challenge to get your head around, especially as an early career person that's not used to this kind of stuff.
For sure. I think, trying to think about how to work with people is a really important thing, as in any role, really. I think, as scientists, it's very easy to try and go in and say, I've researched this, I know what to do, but understanding people on the ground and working with people to come to the best solution is a good way to go about things, I think, for sure. And you've said that you want to get back into academia, you're looking for PhD opportunities. So what is it, I guess, especially about academia that you love and you want to go back into this for a reason, I guess?
I'm one of those really strange people that likes data. I could sit and look at a data set for kind of like hours and try and figure out patterns of what's going on. And the fact that you can then apply that to real world situations and inform like conservation efforts and stuff like that is something that's really fascinating to me. I think it's really difficult to kind of implement real change. So being able to do research that can contribute to that, it's something that kind of like makes me really excited, and I'd love to go in and do that. But whether that's in an academic setting or with a statutory body like Natural England or an NGO, kind of I really want to do research that has like strong deliverables and can have an impact on the world. So especially with my kind of experience working for Natural England now and having kind of volunteered with NGOs, whatever kind of route allows me to have the most impact, I think I want to take those kind of research skills and really kind of apply them for conservation benefit, and that it makes me excited. It's what I want to kind of like wake up and do every day, So being able to go and do a PhD and kind of learning those skills and really kind of diving into a system and the research like that, and then maybe one day down the line thinking, yes, I've helped kind of like contribute to a certain species or a certain area. I think that would be the most satisfying feeling in the world. So I'm kind of, it makes me really, really excited, and I want to go back into research as soon as possible.
Sounds like a brilliant goal to have, and very inspiring too. So you say you love the data, love a data set? I do too. I can relate to that. Have you done much in the way of field work and things as well? Are you kind of go and collect your own data and then get it back for analysis, or is it more using available data sets that are already out there?
So most of I've done is working with existing data. So my master's dissertation was working with tracking data for greater spotted eagles in Belarus, which has been kind of collected as part of a really great project in kind of Plessy, which is a huge kind of wetland area in Eastern Europe. So I'd love to go out there and do some field work. I think that's something that I'm definitely kind of lacking in terms of like the skill set. I think that would be really, really great to see everything through from like the first stages of collecting the data. So hopefully, when I get a PhD, I'll have an opportunity to get a lot more kind of hands-on in that and go out and do some really exciting field work.
Great. Yeah. Look for those opportunities and take them where you can. That's always good. But I guess, analysis of these big data sets can be very challenging. Have you found that to be quite a learning curve in terms of training for using? You mentioned R, that's a kind of programming language. How have you found that side of things?
I find it really interesting, really frustrating a lot of the time. It's a lot, but I had some really great kind of support from my supervisors with learning some of the key skills to then be able to go out and solve some problems on my own. So it's something that is very worth doing. And now that I think I'm at a stage where if I have an issue or I want to learn something new, I can teach it myself. I think that's a really kind of important skill to have. So I'm grateful for kind of sitting for hours on end, kind of screaming at the computer, like, why won't you work? But now it feels a lot better. I'm saying that now. The next time I try and learn something, it's probably going to take me a couple of months to get my head around it. But it's definitely a really important skill to have, but a big learning curve.
Yeah, trying to translate error messages. You become very good at Googling things and figuring out what the key search terms are.
Very good at asking for help. Describing the problem and trying to figure out what you actually need to do for the solution. I think that's the hardest part, but it's a case of Googling things most of the time.
Yeah, I think that's a skill on its own, really, just knowing when to ask for help and not waste too much time kind of trying to figure it out when you've got people around you or you've got resources where you can just go, help me, please. There's normally someone that's come across the same problem before on the internet, at least.
Yeah, and there's some really great communities out there that you can ask for help, and a lot of people are more than happy to donate a little bit of their time to help you figure things out, which is really nice and supportive.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just a couple of questions left to go. So through the podcast, we like to hear about people's work-life balance and the things that they do to try and maintain a work-life balance, because we know in conservation, in academia, in anything science, it is really hard to do that. So we like to hear what other people like to do outside of work. So Charlie, what do you do for fun?
It's actually something that I've been picking up a lot of kind of like tips from listening to the other podcasts about. It's quite full on kind of working and trying to stay involved with academia, working on papers. But I think the main thing that I kind of try and do is not put pressure on myself. Like, nobody's paying me to do this. There's no time pressure. It's fine. And so I've not really made a lot of progress over the last couple of months on the papers. But it's important to kind of take that time for yourself a little bit and set aside things. Like, I normally try and kind of one day a week go out and do something nice, whether that's going out for a walk, visiting like a museum, or kind of going out for some good food. I really like food, so that's always a good break to get some good food and just have a chat with someone and escape a little bit, I think, because I think research can kind of consume your mind quite a lot. So just getting out of that headspace for a little bit is really important.
Absolutely, yeah. Finding some time to switch off, distract yourself and get outside in nature. It's always going to help, definitely. So finally, thinking about our listeners who might be at a similar career stage to you, what would be, I guess, one piece of advice that you might give them, given your experience so far?
That's a tough question.
It is a tricky one.
The most important thing, I think, for me has been finding good people. Like, sometimes things can be really challenging, or you can have, negative experiences. But, whether it's your academic advisor or just a lecturer that you really like, there's lots of really nice people out there that will they're really busy and it can be quite daunting to approach them, but most people are more than happy to kind of make a little bit of time to listen or kind of give you a little bit of advice as to what the next steps are, or some reassurance that kind of things are okay. And I think that's been really important. For me, I've been quite close to dropping out of university a couple of times and thinking, is this really something that I can actually do? Will I ever make it? There's been a couple of people that have been kind of like really great and supportive. So yeah, just find the right people that can kind of help you. It can be a little bit more difficult than that to find good people, but there's lots of them out there. So yeah, talk to people, especially if you have any concerns. And that could be really useful going forward.
Really good advice. Yeah. Having people that you can just go to, even if it's just to have a bit of a rant about your day or what's not working, what's going wrong. And you suddenly hear that everyone's going through similar things, and it does make you feel like, this is normal. It's okay. Well, thank you so much, Charlie. It's been great talking to you today. Thanks for joining us on the podcast, and hopefully we'll hear about your adventures in your PhD soon.
It's been really great speaking to you.